Right now at 6, in the last 30 minutes, we learned the North Carolina man held hostage by Hamas is alive and will head home as part of a ceasefire deal announced today. He's one of 33 hostages expected to be released, along with hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
Among them, 7 Americans, including Keith Siegel of Chapel Hill. For all the families, the months of waiting and wondering about their conditions has been agonizing. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Deborah Morgan. As we take a live look right now in Israel, this temporary ceasefire deal is set to start on Sunday. We have live team coverage of these developments and local reaction. Let's begin with Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. Brian?
Deborah, in the last half hour, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that he is not formally responding to this deal. He says that he's waiting for some of the final details to be worked out before issuing a formal response, but we do know that he contacted both President Biden and President-elect Trump earlier today to thank them for their help in helping to negotiate this. These are the main points of the first phase of the ceasefire deal. Again, it begins on Sunday. Hamas has agreed to release 33 hostages, apparently including 2 Americans, and Israel has agreed to release Palestinian prisoners. Late reporting from CNN indicates that number could total more than 1,000. We mentioned some of those final details. They'll begin to be worked out tomorrow as negotiators from the United States, Qatar, and Egypt meet in Cairo.
Thank you, Brian. WRL's Ashley Rowe continues our team coverage tonight. Ashley, a local tie to this story, word that Keith Siegel of Chapel Hill may be released in the first phase.
Gerald, as you said, we just learned in the last half hour, Keith Siegel is alive and will be one of 2 Americans freed in the first phase of the ceasefire. President Biden wouldn't comment on how many Americans would be released, who they are, or how they're doing. Siegel and his wife, Aviva, were kidnapped from their home on October 7th, 2023. Aviva was released after 51 days, and she's been calling for Keith's release ever since. New tonight, I spoke with Keith's childhood friend from Raleigh, who is a former politician in Israel. He is eager to find out how Keith is doing.
But to be in darkness, presumably, for so many months, and who knows what kind of physical deprivations or torture he's made, I firstly hope that his head and his heart are intact. I really hope that he comes back with his spirit intact and can come back and be the kind of person he always was.
The hostages' families, including Aviva Siegel, releasing a statement saying, in part, "We are deeply grateful that there is finally an agreement between Israel and Hamas to bring our loved ones home. We have been waiting for 467 days while our family members suffer from life-threatening injuries, abuse, torture, and sexual violence. We thank President Biden, President-elect Trump, and their teams for their constructive efforts to make this possible." Families want to make sure every phase of the agreement is fully implemented. And new in the last hour, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the ceasefire agreement is still not complete, hours after the U.S. announced the deal. Gerald.
All right. Thank you very much, Ashley. You can count on WRAL and NBC Nightly News to stay on top of this breaking story tonight. Make sure you have the WRAL News app to receive push alerts like this to your phone as we follow developments throughout the night. And make sure the notifications are turned on so you can stay connected.